What's that?
This is the new norm, and it's the latest anti-woke cartoon. What makes this one different, however, is that it's hosted exclusively on X. I mean, they make it very clear that it is on there. I mean, they literally have part of the episode dedicated to praising Musk in a random cameo, and they're advertising themselves as the South Park of X. And that is an absolutely ridiculous claim, because they are definitely not living up to that.
What's that?
Warning, offensive.
The show opens up by establishing that Norm is under house arrest. Apparently, they were saying some transphobic stuff during a board meeting and the government got him. They strapped a beeper till his ankle till he decided to become woke. And the first thing you're gonna notice about this show is that they laugh at their own jokes. Like, they literally have a laugh track going on in the background.
It's your fault I got house arrest.
You're the one who threatened the school board.
And this laugh track just plays like constantly. And it's just so weird to see an animated show with a laugh track in the first place. They also have like an applauding track and like a oh track. And this is atrocious because someone will literally state a political opinion and then they'll applause. Or someone will state a political opinion and then they'll be like, "Urgh."
They stopped brainwashing my daughter that girls aren't girls and men aren't men.
Sometimes they're neither.
Like, it is just obviously patting yourself on the back, tooting your own horn, whatever you want to call it, except for your own political team. And that just feels like bad, to put it plainly. Not even 45 seconds into the episode, they make fun of furries after spending the last previous chunk of the episode making fun of gay people and transgender people.
Sometimes they're neither. Or both. Or furry and dressed like dogs.
Ow!
So I mean, if that tells you anything about where the show is going. Then we get introduced to a new character called Chaz, who's here to turn Norm woke. And I would like to point out two things about Chaz's character design. One, they look like a superhero I would have designed in 5th grade. That pink mohawk, the heterochromia, whatever the heck they're wearing, that looks like a superhero I would have designed in 5th grade. I mean, maybe that's partially the point. I get they're probably trying to make fun of alternative dressing styles, but it's kind of a crazy enough character design that I appreciate it. And that leads me into the second thing. All the characters on here I actually think are designed pretty well. Like, look at the silhouette ability of the whole cast here. Like, these aren't bad silhouettes. I believe there's some thought poured into these character designs. Regardless of the rest of the show, I'm giving them credit where credit's due. Then after Chaz getting a good bit of woke time in, we get introduced to a new character, who's Norm's best friend and boss. And Chaz is in shock because this is a person of color that Norm is friends with. But on a more meta level here, I know they're trying to show that Norm isn't racist, and it's just kind of crazy that they unironically pulled the "I'm not racist because I have a black friend" card. I think that's crazy that they literally did that in the show right here. Chaz and the woke are wrong about people being racist because they have black friends, so they cannot be racist. And also, just gonna interject this here, we get a continuity error. After Norm calls Chaz that, the robot corrects it as offensive. Then Chaz says,
"Actually, that is one of my pronouns. Also they, them, and me."
But yet the robot, next time someone calls Chaz that, still yells at them.
When you coming back to the trophy shop?
As soon as I get rid of this, which means I gotta take in that?
Offensive.
If this robot is supposed to be the beacon of political correctness, why the heck did it not adjust to Chaz's pronouns? It just feels like a continuity error, and they totally missed an opportunity for a joke setup and payoff, which is a pattern you're gonna see a lot in this show. They just continuously dunk on this, dunk on that, dunk on this, and basically nothing is like attached to each other. They just come one after another, regardless of anything. There's basically no setup and payoff in this show. And this would have been a perfect opportunity for them to put something in like that. What if Hal over here, instead of saying "that's offensive," says "thank you for using the right pronouns"? That would have actually had setup from the interaction between Norm and Chaz before, now being rewarded later. But now we're tricking Norm into being woke, so it still lands your little transphobic joke. I don't know. Maybe I should not be advising people on how to be more effectively transphobic. Let me be very clear, that's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is point out the fact that there's a lack of setup and payoff in the show, when they have very clear opportunities to do so. And that, to me, reads as a sign of bad writing. Then we get this joke here, which actually does have setup and payoff. Unfortunately, it's pretty much the only one in the entire mini pilot.
Reggie?
Try Regina.
Transitioning to what?
Another fumble.
Hopefully not a Jets fan.
But it's kind of ruined by the fact that the laugh track is right after the setup, and then they put another laugh track afterwards.
Transitioning to what?
Another fumble.
Hopefully not a Jets fan.
I swear, the laugh track is just shoved in here every opportunity we can get it in. Like, what Norm says here isn't even a joke. Why is there a laugh track after that? Then we get a scene of where Norm offers Chaz a beer and Chaz throws it away because they're not 21. And the other guy gets up and be's like, "Chaz, why are you all trying to wokenize my kid? Why are you allowing them to transition before you're allowing them to drink? That doesn't make any sense." And this is kind of a weird continuity error. A scene later, we see that Chaz is actually like a spy for the woke US government, and that they're coming here to infiltrate Norm Norm and turn him into a woke. And so in this world, theoretically, they would be to blame for turning the world woke because they work for the government and the government's turning people woke in the world of the new Norm. But this guy doesn't know this. Why are they blaming Chaz? All he knows about Chaz is everything Norm has told him. Why is Chaz getting blamed for this? Maybe it's a small issue, but I feel like it doesn't make all that much sense. To me, this reads as the show just trying to dunk on woke at every opportunity, but not really thinking about what the repercussions or why this makes sense in the world. Then we start wrapping up when Norm opens up the gay beer. Now, you might not have caught this, but this is actually a reference to a scene of that one video me and your mom film. I'm gonna keep it in. I'm gonna keep that joke in. I don't care what anyone says. Then we get that praising of Elon Musk I mentioned earlier and a little jab at Disney. Okay, overall, the first issue is that it's not South Park, despite the fact that it's clearly advertising itself as the South Park of X. South Park makes you think. I've seen plenty of episodes of South Park that I personally disagree with, but regardless, I come out of that episode being like, I had never thought of it that way, or that was a new perspective, or I appreciate them pointing that part out. This show has absolutely none of that. Second of all, this isn't offensive at all. South Park definitely has some offensive episodes, and for this show that I know is like trying to be offensive, it's not really offensive. It feels too ridiculous to be offensive. And if your goal's trying to be offensive, it's kind of just failing at it, in my personal opinion. Just taking jabs one after the other, and things are barely linked together. And so because of that, the characters don't really have any stakes. Nothing feels like it matters. We don't really know the characters' motives at all. We know nothing personal about them, so we can't feel like offended in any way because this feels like a fictional thing that's taking place in a like far-off universe. It feels like you could just start the episode halfway through and it'd basically just be just as coherent because nothing's attached to another. It's just jab, 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 completely all unrelated. Again, setup and payoff would have helped this tremendously, but they didn't really have much of that, besides, of course, the Jets joke. The show's just overall very shallow, and this also shows up in the characters. Aside from being woke, Chaz is a little bit of a jerk. Seems like they might need to analyze their own biases, and they're automatically being like, where am I staying? They're not really being respectful to Norm at all whatsoever. To put it plainly, a little bit of a jerk. Now, I get this is probably making fun of the left being all up on their high horses, but will we get to see Chaz work through this? Will we get to see Chaz realize the error in their ways? Will we get to see them become more a member of the family and gain a respect for Norm? Will Norm ever grow a respect for Chaz on any level? Or will Chaz just end up being the punching bag of every episode till the end of time? Personally, I have my bets on the latter considering the rest of this show, and that makes me sad to see. I think if they want to effectively push these anti-woke morals, then show me why Chaz is flawed. Make me feel for Norm. South Park does this great. It lets me see their perspectives and their like reasoning and their wants and their desires, and that motivates the characters. But instead they feel very flat. We see this again with Norm's boss and their child. Right now I'm feeling like that kid is just gonna be dunked on for the rest of the series. Either that or Norm is gonna come in with some little quick punch joke and they're gonna be like, dang, I was wrong all along. Thank you guys for making me see the light and realize and I'm now enlightened. Like, this is actually a heavy topic of debate politically around the world right now. Why does he care so much about their kid transitioning? What do they have in it beside woke bad? God forbid Norm's boss be wrong. It feels like we're lacking actual depth here, and I know it's just a mini pilot, but it's not showing any evidence of them wanting to explore that depth, which I feel like a pilot should do, is show like what's coming up a little bit, like give a quick preview of some of the vibes they're going for. And right now all the vibes they're going for is dunk, 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 dunk. No real exploration of the topics at all. Though, I do want to point out that one of the good things that came out of the show is the fan art. Dude, it's kind of hilarious. All the people shipping Norm and the amount of fan art of Chaz and stuff is ridiculous. Now, I get this is probably like anti-fan art and they're probably not really fans of the show, so maybe you should call it like hate art, I don't know. And then we also got Gooseworks to make some like sort of digital circus new Norm YouTube poop, which was crazy and I was not expecting that. But yeah, overall a very disappointing show that really isn't all that funny. You may be wondering, why are we filming over here now? It's because I'm editing Sold, and I forgot to film an outro for this video, so I'm just doing it now and throwing it on the back while I'm editing. I'm sorry about the unprofessionality of this. Regardless, if you want to see a video on how Pixar is dooming their original projects, make sure to click the video on screen like right about here. And make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.